It's 2025, which means it's been almost 2 years since the CS2 beta dropped. We've had 2 majors, one of which I went to. Oh, and shout out to Dibble, who cased a stiletto knife right in front of me. Shortly followed by pickers. Unlucky on that pull, mate. But yeah, my point is, CS2 has been around for a while now, and we've had our fair share of good updates, and of course, quite a few bad updates. Yeah, do you guys remember when we could pretty much defuse from anywhere? Yeah, that was one of the recent updates where they removed instant inspects to weapons and knives, which is why I made this video, but of course, in true Valve trolling fashion, an hour after I posted my video, they thankfully fixed it. They've also fixed other inspect bugs, so just as NN said in the comments, I thought it no better time than to remake my official CS2 knife animation tier list for any of you guys that are interested in it or who are maybe looking to purchase a brand new knife for 2025. And that's where today's video sponsor comes in handy, which is Skins Monkey, the safe, automated, easy to use CS2 trading site that gives you an insane 35% deposit bonus for every cash deposit when using code WILD. Also, by using the code, you can claim up to a $5 free bonus on your first $100 trade. No deposit needed. It's definitely worth trading at least $100 on that first trade just to make sure you're making the most of it. And don't worry, there are a ton of deposit methods, so it's super easy to load up. And using the filters, you can find some skins that are just right for you and trade away any of your old skins that you're bored of. And in case you have any issues, they also offer 24/7 live chat support. So what are you waiting for? If you want to grab yourself some fresh new skins for 2025 from their crazy amount of skins up for grabs, make sure to go and check them out. But yeah, let's get back to the video. So to start with, guys, I'm going to rip the band-aid off and say it, the Navaja knife sucks. I mean, it looks more like a spoon, if anything, but remember, this is an animation tier list. So I get some people, maybe like 3 people, like the design of the handle, but we're not basing this off of the design of knives. In this case, we're pretty much just basing it off of the pullout, and it's not terrible. Like, the sound is okay, but compared to the likes of the flip or the stiletto knife, which we'll get onto, it just seems goofy or over the top to me, considering the size of this quote-unquote knife, which, yeah, I mean, I think it'd do better as a letter opener. The inspect and melee animations are nothing to go crazy about. Same with the backstabbing animation, so yeah, it can hold this L and be my only knife in D tier. Next up, guys, and this pains me to say it, but to kick off C tier, we have the flip knife. And yes, I know, it's one of the best knives to swap to after hitting that nutty Kenny S shot. But like, maybe in 2014, 2015, it had more of a leg to stand on, but in big 2025, there are so many more knives with far more animations. The inspect and melee animations are kind of boring by today's standards. Same with the backstab, so yeah, I'm really sorry, flip knife, but you're going in C tier. And oh god, if you thought that take would make people click off the video, this next take, yeah, some of you guys are gonna need to sit down. For my next and final knife in C tier, remember guys, this is based off of animations only, not the look or my overall ranking of a knife. But yeah, the next knife is the M9 bayonet. Okay, before you leave a dislike and a mean comment, hear me out. Don't get me wrong, the pullout of this knife is beautiful. It's super clean, and if we were mixing that with the look of this knife, then sure, it's rated a lot higher. But similar to the flip, the pullout is the only thing really going for it in regards to animations. The inspect is just a default inspect. However, this was finally fixed from the ancient bug where your thumb would phase through the handle. And geez, Valve, you took your time on this one. I mean, it's been almost a year and a half, and we've only just been told about Season 2 for CS2 Premier, so that says it all, really. And the left and right click melee animations are also pretty basic. I'd say the right click backstab kind of looks okay, but that's mainly due to the look of the knife. But yeah, let me just make it clear, guys. In a regular, just overall tier list, I'm putting it in S tier. I love the M9. But based off animations, I'm sorry, but it's going top of C tier. I could definitely see arguments for it being in like B tier, but we can't just have every knife in B, A, or S. But next up, we have 2 knives actually, being the gut knife and the huntsman knife, because yeah, they're basically just the same. They share the same animations. Of course, the pullout is super cool. I love the spin. The animations are pretty standard, same with the backstabs. However, the right click on the huntsman knife does this cool like pull-up animation, like, you know, like you're struggling, you're ripping it out of the body, which is kind of cool in my opinion. And I mean, the look of the knife is better, so I'd put it higher anyway, but this is based off of animations. That kind of helps, so that's why I'd rank it above. But that does mean, guys, that in the next ranking above these 2 knives, we have the shadow daggers, aka the butt plugs, which I feel like people are going to be mad because they're above the huntsman, gut, M9 flip, but hear me out, guys. Firstly, it's the only knife which actually has two knives, which is kind of cool, I suppose. And I think the animation for those pullouts is really smooth, as well as the inspect, which is pretty clean. You know, it spins around that right knife. And so far, it's the first knife where you can actually F and R spam. And it does this cool little spin. So yeah, I think that's the reason why it deserves to be above all the previous knives. The melee and backstab animations are unfortunately exactly the same, like they don't change, which is a bit odd. But yeah, I think the fact that you can, you know, spin it around, FR spam, I think that's huge for animations. So yeah, overall, I think mid B is pretty fair. But next, guys, we have the Bowie knife, or should I call it the Bowie sword? Like, what the hell is this knife? It's freaking massive. I think the pullout is pretty cool. Same with the inspect. It looks pretty clean, considering the size of this blade. I know this is the first knife where I'm gonna mention this, but the right-click inspect, I think, looks awesome. The left click inspect doesn't really go, and I mean on like shadow daggers, for example, they're the only other knife without a basic inspect. But yeah, it doesn't look good on those either. So yeah, honestly, I had a Bowie knife in the past, and right click inspecting was one of my favorite things to do with it, because the F just kind of looks a bit goofy because it's so big. To be honest, the left and right click melee animations also are pretty goofy because you're like swinging this massive sword around. The right click backstab kind of makes sense, and the left click backstab kind of gives me sword fighting vibes. I don't know, it's just the way that you swing it. So yeah, I think a well-deserved mid-B tier is fair. But uh-oh, guys, we're at one of those points again. Trigger warning. But yeah, a knife with arguably one of, if not the best pullout animations we have. Of course, it's the bayonet. And yes, I get it, guys. Some of you are going to be screaming at your monitors, like, how can a knife with such a good pullout be at the top of just B tier? But again, just like the Huntsman, the Gut, the Flip, and the M9, which are all arguably decent knives, they all have super cool pullouts, but that's about it. Out of all of them, I think the Bayo probably has the coolest though. But when it comes to the inspect, the left and right click melees, even the left backstab, they're all just basic. The right click backstab is kind of cool, but yeah, I just can't really put it any higher than this because there's a lot of knives now, and they've clearly tried to make them a bit more exciting. But in stark contrast to those new knives, if we throw it way back to CS 1.6, we of course have ourselves the classic knife. Now, of course, this is OG 1.6 footage, but here it is in Big Boy CS2 now, with a pretty clean pullout for its default inspect. It looks pretty much just that. Default. But for the rare inspect, it starts flipping this knife and catching it, which I think looks amazing. And just like with the Bowie knife, I actually had one of these for a while. And yeah, it's super fun to play with. Oh, and one little cool Easter egg in case you guys didn't know about the classic is the idle animation where you grab the top of it with your left hand and just give it a little rub. Hey yo, and then yeah, you just go back to holding it normally. So it's nothing like insane, but it's something extra about it. Oh, also the melee and the backstab animations are pretty basic, but definitely not bad. But I think the fact that we have a rare inspect animation and it's the first knife on the list to have one means that, yeah, I think it deservedly tops off B tier. But next, guys, to start A tier, we got a knife that I don't really like the look of, and that of course is the paracord knife. And yeah, that regular pullout, I'm not really a fan of either. You might be thinking, Wild, how is this in A tier then? Well, guys, look at this rare pullout. Like, how clean is that? I just think chucking the knife from the left to right hand and catching it looks sick. And then its regular inspect is kind of like the default, but slightly different, which I really like, as again, it makes sense, but it's just slightly different. The rare inspect is where it just chucks it up and starts like spinning it around. I also really like that, and the sound of it is super satisfying. Now, the melees are pretty basic. For sure, the rare pullout, regular and rare inspect animations carry this knife. I just feel like I can't not put it in bottom of A tier if we're trying to be as objective as possible. Next, we have the survival knife, which when it comes to regular pullouts isn't the best, but when it comes to the rare pullout, this is a banger. Like, just look at that flip. The regular inspect is pretty default, and the rare one's pretty nice. Melee animations are pretty standard. Same goes for the backstabs. There used to also be this cool inspect animation bug, but Valve unfortunately patched it. But regardless, the rare pullout animation, I think, is one of the best in the game. And just in general, having a knife with a rare pullout and inspect animation is pretty cool, as it's a little gamble every time you whip out your knife or press F. Next, we have the Ursus knife. When it comes to the pullout, it's kind of similar to the previous knife, and just like the survival, there is a super awesome rare pullout animation where you chuck the knife up in the air, which when paired with the regular inspect is okay, but if you can hit a rare pullout into this insane rare inspect animation where you literally spin the knife around your fingers without stopping, then yeah, this knife is amazing. It's another one that I previously had and had a lot of fun with. Melees and backstabs are pretty standard, but yeah, that rare pullout and inspect absolutely deserve A tier. Now for one of my favorite knives in the game, we have the stiletto knife. And wow, before we get into the animations, can we just take a moment to listen to the ASMR pullout of the stiletto? Oh, it is beautiful. Also, when it comes to the regular pullout, I mean, obviously, it's a stiletto knife, but yeah, still, that flick out looks sick. Unfortunately, there's no rare pullout animation, but I'm fine with the regular, as I said. When it comes to inspects, I really like the regular one, just because of the way that you hold the knife with the tips of your fingers. And then, yeah, the rare inspect, again, not only does it sound good, but you end up just flipping the knife in your hand endlessly, which is just super gangster. The melee animations, along with the backstabbing animations, I really like just because of how pointy the blade is. And in my own personal list, I'd rank this super high, but I think for this list, top A is fair. Now starting off at the bottom of S tier, we have to start with the karambit, and yeah, I can't really believe that I'm ranking this at the bottom of S tier this low, because it's probably my favorite knife in Counter-Strike. I'm literally using one right now at the moment in my inventory, and I will never get rid of it. But again, this is a animation list, and the fact that there's no rare pullout animation, that kind of lets it down. Now, again, if I'm being biased in my opinion, I don't think it needs a rare animation, because yeah, just look at how clean this is. Like, it's just so consistent and fluid. It's a perfect knife to pair with an AWP. The inspect is also fantastic, but yeah, the reason why it's bottom of S pretty much is due to the lack of rare animations. But obviously, it's an old school classic knife, so unless Valve bring out a new update adding rare animations for old knives, it's gonna stay how it is, but I still think it deserves at least S tier. Oh, and also the melee animations. The left click looks like you're almost hooking someone, and the right click is also awesome because you're like cutting up through someone. Then for the backstabs for the left click, again, it's almost like you're hooking. And then for the right click, it's like a deep stab. So yeah, just overall an amazing knife. Jeez, man, I'm just realizing me saying this out loud. Someone heard me out of context. It sounds pretty cooked. But of course, guys, if I've just done the karambit, next up, it has to be the Talon knife. Basically, just the modern day copy of the OG karambit. I mean, it's not even modern day anymore. Time goes by so quick. I wouldn't normally rank the Talon above the karambit, but again, if I'm trying to be as objective as possible, personally, I'm not a huge fan of the Talon pullout, but as Valve fixed the instant inspect, whenever I pull one out, I just instantly inspect because yeah, that regular inspect is super clean. But what is absolutely insane about this knife, guys, is its rare inspect animation, which fair enough, it gets some massive points for this because yeah, as you can see here, it just keeps spinning, guys, around and around and around your finger. And yeah, just who can't like that? I mean, it's sick, guys. I wish the karambit low-key could do this as well, but hey, it is what it is. For the melee and backstab animations, they're pretty much the same as the regular karambit, so that's why it's like second bottom just after the karambit in S tier. Next up, we have the Nomad knife, which I heavily underrated before, guys. The regular pullout alone, I think, looks awesome, but then you have this rare pullout where you literally cut the edge of your thumb, and I don't know, I just think it's one of the coolest, most unique ideas for a rare pullout animation. Then for the two inspect animations, you've got one here where the knife is kind of spun around in your hand while you're looking at it, and then you've got the other one, which is a lot more default inspect looking, but still looks super clean. The only argument I can see against the Nomad is that the animations aren't spammy, so you can't like F and R spam. But I think overall the quality of the animations, yeah, it definitely deserves a mid S tier. The next knife for mid S tier has got to be the Falchion knife. I'm not gonna lie, the pullout for me isn't anything crazy. It's not bad though. The regular inspect, it's actually pretty cool. I really never paid much attention to this knife before, but yeah, when like properly looking at it, yeah, this inspect's sick. You know, you pull it out, you got the nice little twirl. But guys, of course, if you know, you know, when it comes to the rare inspect animation, it is one of the goofiest yet coolest animations in the entire game. As you can see here, guys, yes, the knife is being balanced on my hand, and if you just hold F, it will just stay balanced there forever until you let go. Even if you like look up and down, like there's no such thing as gravity for the Falchion knife. It doesn't fall off. It's kind of stupid, but yeah, it's one of the coolest ones in the entire game, I think. The left click animations are all right, but the right click, oh, that is something that I think is super underrated. How you can stab and then flick the knife back. And yeah, I just think in general, the Falchion has never got a lot of love. But when it comes to animations, I think it truly does deserve S tier. But guys, that leaves us with 3 more knives left. It's pretty obvious which one's going to win. So to start in third place, we have the newest knife to the lineup, which is the Kukri knife from the Kilowatt or Gallery case. And in previous lists, some people haven't liked how highly I've ranked this knife. But let's take a look at all the animations. Firstly, the backflip pullout I just showed is the the regular pullout. On most knives, this would easily be a rare pullout animation. Then for the rare pullout, we have this crazy spinning pullout, which just doesn't even really look real, but I think looks awesome. And then to pair with either one of these pullouts, I think the inspect animation looks super clean. Not only that, but if you hold F, it starts further inspecting both sides of the knife, which is a cool touch. The left click melees are okay, but the right click looks great, as it just feels like there's some weight in the slash. The backstabs didn't really stand out to me, but they aren't bad at all. So yeah, I think third makes sense, as it's clear that Valve really tried to make the animations for this knife as fluid and smooth as possible, probably to try and stand out from a lot of the other knives. It's a bit like how a lot of the new skins are super detailed compared to a lot of the old skins, which are a bit more basic, dull, or washed out, unfortunately. Clearly, Valve want to keep new cases as popular as possible. But anyway, in second place, we have the skeleton knife. No real shock there. Now, the regular pullout for the skeleton, I'm not a massive fan of, to be honest, but the rare pullout, oi, 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 this is a juicer. If I could have the rare pullout every time for this knife, it would probably be my favorite, because personally, the regular inspect, I think also looks pretty awesome. And then guys, obviously, you guys already know, the rare inspect is absolutely fantastic. Like, it just spins constantly around your finger. It's literally like a ninja dagger. I don't know. I think it's amazing. The melee and backstab animations are pretty standard, but that rare pullout and inspect absolutely carry this knife to be the second best knife when it comes to animations, at least in my opinion. But of course, guys, that leaves us with finally the butterfly knife. I don't even think I need to really say anything about this knife. You guys already know it's amazing. We've got a great pullout animation. We've got great inspect animations, like there's multiple. I'll show everything off now while I'm yapping. They all look absolutely amazing. Obviously, there's certain ones that I prefer over other ones. But yeah, I mean, guys, there's a reason why the Chinese investors completely pumped the hell out of this knife and why it's been the most expensive type of knife since what, like 2017. Also, FR spamming with this knife is just super addictive, almost like a fidget spinner. That's why a lot of people call it the ADHD knife. But guys, real quick, I want to show you the left and right click knife animations, which are pretty standard, but something that a lot of people sleep on are the left and right click backstab animations. Like, just look at them. They look absolutely insane. Right after you get the backstab, you also then flick the knife back into your hand. And yeah, those animations are some of the nicest animations I've seen on the butterfly knife. But yeah, it was pretty obvious it was going to take the #1 spot. So yeah, that's my finished tier list. I could possibly move the classic up to low A and maybe even the bayonet, but nah, I'm going to leave it like that. But yeah, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. And if you're still here, make sure to leave a like on the video and make sure you're subbed with noties on, as I'm back to the daily uploads. Oh, and if you want to watch another CS video, click one of the videos on your screen right now.